What's up, guys? So Konami have released Gerrard, Lampard, and David Beckham with edged crossing. So we're going to take a look at these three players, and I'm going to give you builds and then skills I would recommend putting on them. So if we start off with David Beckham is a cross specialist, so that means he will, when he's playing on the wing, just stay out wide and hug the touchline. So it's not a terrible play style, but it's very rarely used. But he can also play centre mid, so just play him right mid or centre mid. I wouldn't really play a cross specialist as a right wing forward. So he's going to work in a 3-5-2 or just normal formation in center mid. So if we take a look at his build, you can see here, this is the first one I would recommend. It starts off with very high passing, so you don't need to put the points into passing on this build anyway. We do have actually one extra point that would go into either shooting or passing, but the rest of the build we're going to look at. Look, we got the dribbling to 85 before the boosts and the acceleration to 85. Unfortunately, you can't really get a build with both 83 speed, 85 acceleration, and 85 balance. In order to do that, you're going to have to take the dribbling off too. And that would get the speed up to there, and then the balance, we would need even more dribbling off, and then we've only got them points left. I mean, you could do this build, make him a bit more physical, a bit more box to box, but then his dribbling's quite low. So I'm not sure if this is what I would recommend. Now, if you want to worry about the passing, you can do another build like this. So you take off, should we reset it? I'll allocate, and then take the passing off. So you don't need more than, let's see, 85 for the +3 boost. And then you can go into the dribbling and the speed, get the boost on the speed there. So that 90 speed here, his acceleration will be a bit lower than the speed. So he won't actually be that good at dribbling when you're using sprint, because the acceleration is lower. That's going to be more important than speed. So this guy, he'll only re-dribble when you're not sprinting, and then the high speed is for when he's tracking back and defending. So again, to the skills, I'll explain why that might be important. I've used David Beckham before in this game. I actually think he would be kind of good as a, not a defender, but a kind of midfielder who tracks back. He's tall and he's got the speed here, and I've noticed that players that are tall kind of intercept a lot and then win the ball off the opponent quite easily. You can also go for this build here if you want the finishing higher. And then if you're not worried about the speed too much, you can go for a build like this, but you can see the balance is still 84 and we can't get it up. You're going to have to go back into the shooting or the passing again. Now, when we look at David Beckham's skills, he actually does start off with a decent bunch. So I'm going to recommend on him interception and track back. So this interception is more if you're going to play him centre mid. Track back will matter if you're going to play him right mid or centre mid though, so that'll help him defensively. The interception won't come into play too much at right mid. And this is assuming you're playing him in a 3-5-2. I wouldn't really play him right mid if you don't play a trade back. But interception, track back will help him in the middle. And then after that, you've got kind of two paths you can go down. You can go for the level 3 double touch. You can get double touch, flip flap, and soul control. I think it would be quite effective. He's got the good stats for shooting. Even if you don't give him a build with finishing, his lower finish will be fine. He's got good pick and pair. He's got good player ID. So he will be effective that way. If you don't want to go for that though, instead you can go for maybe just double touch or Marseille turn or cut behind and turn. I think, to be honest, I think it would mostly be cut behind and turn instead of Marseille turn. I don't think if you're playing him right mid, he won't be a good candidate for Marseille turn. I think if you're going to use Marseille turn on a winger, it should be more for a left wing player that's right-footed or a right wing player that's left-footed. He's obviously right-footed on the right wing, so cut behind turn would be better. I've got Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's a cross specialist with edged crossing, and I've got 1,000 games with him. He's got cut behind turn. It is more effective. And then you can also go for acrobatic finishing, particularly if you're playing him in the middle. He just to help him with shooting. You're gonna want to shoot with David Beckham. It'll be pretty fun, I guess. And then first time shot as well, just to help with the shooting too. So those are the skills I'd go for. I don't think this guy's gonna be an amazing card. I think whenever they make a David Beckham card, if they make him a winger, it's not great, but just because of the way crossing isn't that spectacular and he doesn't have the pace. I don't think edge crossing is gonna make him amazing either. If there's one player who's crossing I think is actually good in this game, probably would be David Beckham. So I'd rather him without edge crossing, to be honest. Obviously I don't know what he's like with edge crossing, but I don't think his edge crossing is going to be much better than everyone else's. I think it'll kind of bring him back in line with everyone else, whereas normal crossing is a lot better than everyone else's. So next player we're going to look at is Steven Gerrard, and I have various builds for this guy. So this one here is if you're not worried about his defensive ability. We put a lot of points into just every other stat, and then we had 2 extra points left over for defending. So he's very fast. Got great kick and power, great dribble, and great passing and great finishing. So this guy is basically like my Mateus, but instead of worrying about his defensive ability. He's going to be going forward. Now, one thing about this Gerrard that I'm not sure or confident on him being very, very effective in this game going forward. He will be good. He will be quite effective, but not very. Is his lower balance. So we talked about in the midfielders video how to train your midfielders. High balance, particularly for midfielders, can compensate for lower dribbling. And he has not low balance, but he doesn't have great balance. But the dribbling stats there should make him fine. And then he's kind of more of a physical player anyway. So he should be effective there. If you don't want to worry anything about his defending, just take 2 points off there and put them into the aerial strength. They get 81 physical contact and 70 jump. Physical contact is not something I really worry about when I'm building midfielders, but just because the points are there very easy to get them up a threshold, I think it could make sense. Now, if you are worried about his defending, first build I would go for is essentially this. So this is the more middle tier defending one. It's pretty similar build. You can see we mostly just talk off dexterity, really, a little bit of dribbling, a little dexterity, a little bit of speed, and put it into defending. So this guy will be quite effective, just normal box-to-box midfielder. You could even get away with less shooting. So we take off the boosts and we get him to 84, let's say. Like, he has 88 finishing. 88 finishing is always a number I recommend on midfielders, as like, you know, if you want all your centre forwards to be 90 finishing, if you get to 88 finishing on midfielders, I find that's usually enough finishing. But the reason you go for 3 points is just because, look, you're on 84, you might as well get the +3 boost and bring it to 90. But if you want to build where we get the engagement and aggression to 85, you're going to have to make sacrifices somewhere. So we can probably make them from dribbling, and then you've got 1 extra point here. So you could take that point off aerial and put it back into dribbling to get the tight possession. And then, look, his defensive qualities are a lot better now. Although if you're really just worried about making this guy good defensively, you'd probably take off that tight possession and get it into the aerial, just to make that jump and physical contact that little bit better. So I do have skill recommendations, depending on which build you're kind of using. So if we open the skills, you can see here, like the other version of Gerrard, which I reviewed a few months ago, he doesn't start off with true pass and one touch pass. This one does start off with long range shooting. I don't think that other one did. So the first 2 skills I'm going to recommend for every build is one touch pass and true pass. Then I'm going to recommend interception. I think that should go on every build too, but maybe if you just want him as a more of an attacking player, you might go without it. But I still would recommend it on every build. And then track back as well. Track back can work on every build. It's good for attackers, it's good for midfielders, it's good for defensive midfielders. So those 4 skills are pretty much a necessity for this guy. Then he'll become a great player. I thought Mateus was an amazing player, and then I put track back on him and he became the best player, the best midfielder I have. Gilberto Silva was similar, and then I had a few people in my comments over the last week say the same thing about track back, particularly on Mateus. I had 2 people at least say it for Mateus. Once they put track back on him, it became amazing. Definitely put track back on this guy, and then I did recommend it on Beckham too. I think I'm going to recommend it on Lampard as well, but I think it goes on every player pretty much. And then for the last skill, you're going to have 1 extra slot, assuming you put those 4 skills on. So I'd be going for double touch, cut behind and turn, acrobatic clearing, acrobatic finishing, or aerial superiority. So cut behind and turn if you're playing them kind of as a deeper centre midfielder, more. If you want them to go forward and get more goals, you go for double touch or acrobatic finishing, depending on if you use double touch or not. Depends on kind of what type of player you are. Because he has lower balance, you might need to double touch more than just relying on his normal dribbling. So it's kind of annoying that you can't get acrobatic finishing and double touch, because I do think those 4 skills, even if you're playing him as an attacking player, he'll be a much better player with the 4 skills I mentioned first. And then, to be honest, I did put aerial superiority in here. I don't really think you need it. Maybe if you're literally just worried about making them defensive as possible, you could go for it, but I don't think it is a necessity. So I do think this guy will be very good in game. Just a heads up, if you're using them, try some finesse shots with him in the box. The last Gerrard was very good at finesse shots, and I talked about this in I think it was my attackers video. Finesse shots seem to be not worry too much about your curl. If you're in the box and you have high finishing, high kicking power, you can get away with finesse shots, because if you look at all the top tier strikers, they usually only have about 80 curl anyway, so their curl isn't high, and then their finesse shots are fine. So next player we're going to look at is obviously the last player in the pack, and it is Frank Lampard. So I love Frank Lampard in life, in real life. I guess I do love him in life too. And this kind of card is a bit disappointed to be. He's not a whole player. I think he should be a whole player. I think a suit type player he was more. He is box to box, however. And I'll go and level show you the builds I have given him. So this first build here, you can see we got his ball control and tight possession to 85, his low pass to 85, his finishing to 85, and then the kicking power to 85. So this Lampard is a bit slower than Gerrard, and to be honest, he's not. Even if he is slower, he's not better than them anywhere else, really. I think he has the same finishing, the same passing, same dribbling, worse defending. He's just not as good as Gerrard, unfortunately. Now, his skills are different, but I don't think they're going to be a game changer, really. I really think the problem with this card is you can't get him to 95 finishing very easily. Look, you'd have to put 10 points into shooting. I guess you could do it. And I do think if there was a midfielder who deserves 95 finishing, it'd be Frank Lampard. He's kind of disappointing, this card, to me, to be honest. I have got a normal legend Lampard, and he doesn't feel like anything special in terms of player ID. But if you do get him and you want to level him, those are I wouldn't really recommend this 95 finishing build. So that's the build I'd recommend. Do I have a different build, really? I don't know. Like, you could go less into dribbling and more into defending, get the 80s on the defending. I guess that does look better, but the problem is he in real life is a attacking midfielder, really. So giving him an 80s on defending, it just doesn't sit right, really. So I guess you could go for this build here if you want them to be more balanced. So probably go for that if you want them to be balanced. If you want them to be more like the player that he was in real life, go for the last build. Now, if we look at the skills, he does actually start off with all 3 shooting skills in knuckle shot, dipping shot, and rising shot. Now, he doesn't start off with acrobatic finishing, unfortunately, so that is going to be one of the skills I recommend. So I have my notes here. So the first skill I'd recommend is interception, even if you don't go for the defensive build. I just, like I said in my midfielders video, I think it's a necessary skill for midfielders. Now, he does have the 2 other necessary skills for midfielders, one touch pass and true passing, so no issues there. So then to make him the kind of player he was in real life, I would go for first time shot and acrobatic finishing. Then it'll be fine. Then you've got a choice between double touch. So you've got 3 skills so far: interception, first time, and acrobatic finishing. So you've got a choice between really. I've got 4 skills down. I've got double touch, track back, Marseille turn, / cup behind turn. So you pick between one of them 2. So you would really go for, probably, if you're not worried about his defending, double touch, and would I go for cup behind turn and Marseille turn? I think if you're playing him further up the pitch, probably Marseille turn. If you're playing deeper in the pitch, cup behind turn, and then you go for double touch, and them 2. Then if you're not someone who really uses Marseille turn / double touch, pick between double touch or Marseille turn and cup behind turn, and go for track back 2. And as I've said again and again, track back is very important. So yeah, those are the skills and then the builds I would recommend for the players. There are other players in the pack. I had a quick look at them. For Declan Rice, if you get him and you want to use him, he just needs the 2 one touch pass and true passing, and then he should be quite effective. You could also go for acrobatic clearance if you want to play him deep line. I don't think anyone else is too interested in Kobe Minu. Still doesn't have skills, so I wouldn't really use him. But yeah, that's the end of the video. So I'm gonna go talk about the showtimes, these guys here, in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.